99% of day traders lose money, and everyone says that trading is 80% psychology. So if that's true, that means then most traders don't have a trading problem. They have a mental edge problem. If you find yourself sometimes telling yourself that, oh yeah, no, today I'm going to be more disciplined. Today I'm not going to revenge trade. Today I'm going to be more patient. And heck, sometimes it might even work. You might be a bit more patient on some days or a bit more disciplined on some days. But then you always find yourself reverting back to the same patterns and to the same mistakes. That doesn't happen because you're a bad trader. You just don't know the formula to making change that actually sticks. In this video, I'm going to show you a simple proven framework that's going to literally allow you to reinvent yourself so you stop repeating the same mistakes, become more disciplined, and actually master day trading from the inside out. And the craziest part is that it all starts with you lying to yourself on purpose. So if you're tired of not being able to overcome this person you're when it comes to trading, not being able to overcome yourself in trading, and if you're tired of feeling stuck, be sure to watch this video all the way through to the end, because this video is going to change everything for you. In order for you to understand everything that I'm going to share with you in this video, that's going to allow you to be able to literally transform your trading, and the 3-point framework that I'm literally going to give to you that will literally lead to this transformation, we first need to understand how personal reality creation works. Because if we can understand how personal reality creation works, we're going to be able to reverse engineer that and actually use that to our advantage. So how does personal reality creation work? And why is it so crucial and important for us to be able to transform our trading? And the simplest way to put it is that you have an identity, and this is where everything starts. And this identity is who you believe yourself to be. For you as a trader you are now, it's going to make sense, but you literally believe that you are an undisciplined and unsuccessful trader, and you don't even know that you believe that. But we're going to get to it, and it's going to make more sense. So it starts with an identity, right? And from that identity comes a thought, and a thought leads to an action, and an action leads to a behavior, and behaviors lead to beliefs, and beliefs lead to subconscious programming, and that subconscious programming is what then filters reality and allow us to perceive reality based on this identity. So in essence, your thoughts literally lead to how you perceive reality, and how you perceive reality is what creates your identity. And if you think about everything I've just shared with you and how you create reality, and you actually think about how you conduct yourself day to day when you're trading, and the reasons why you're not a successful day trader, and the reason why you believe you're not a successful day trader, it actually makes sense, because this is where you've been going wrong. Because if you think about it, right? Let's say for the past, I don't know how long you've been trading, right? You go into the markets and you revenge trade. Every single time you go in the markets, you revenge trade, right? What happens? So you go in the markets, you revenge trade, and then that revenge trading is going to lead to an emotional reaction, and your brain is literally going to log that as evidence that, oh shit, I'm a bad trader, I'm a terrible trader, because you've done a negative action and it's going to lead to negative thoughts. And you've been doing this over and over and over again. You've literally been repeating the same actions for a long period of time, that you've literally created an identity that I am an unsuccessful and undisciplined trader. And that identity has its own subconscious programming that's running you. And that's why you find yourself in a position of no progression, because in some days you might even be like, oh shit, okay, I'm gonna be more disciplined today. And you are more disciplined. And you're like, today, okay, today I'm gonna follow my trading plan. And you follow the trading plan. And then you say today, okay, I'm gonna be more patient. And you are more patient. But then you always find yourself that somehow, some way, you're always then reverting back to that old self of just always repeating that same cycle of that toxicity, which then leads to reinforcing that whole identity, because you're just trying to brute force and just trying to change the symptoms, and the symptoms of who you believe yourself to be, the undisciplined, unsuccessful trader. And by trying to change those, that's why the change doesn't last long. That's why you always find yourself resorting back to this undisciplined unself, because you don't believe that you actually are at your identity. That core identity is what's still running you in the background. And as long as it runs you, you're always going to be telling yourself the same story, repeating the same thoughts, repeating the same actions, reinforcing that identity. And it's just going to become more rooted and rooted and rooted in you. And on top of that, the conditioning that comes with it, your nervous system is now accustomed to this identity. Your nervous system is now accustomed to the responses and the emotional responses that you get from doing these bad things. and you become addicted to those emotions. And the reason why you become addicted to these actions and how you always find yourself in this position, it's not because you want to. The problem is that you've become addicted to the emotions of who you are when you are that person. And the brain loves that because the brain can predict that. The brain knows how to live in that. Because if you think about it, right? The brain is a record of the past. The brain is built for survival. So survival means predictability. And that's just how the brain is wired. The brain is wired for consistency. The more consistent something is, the more the brain prefers it. And even if you have something else that you know you need to do that's better, the brain is always going to choose what's been more predictable and what's been more consistent. And that's why you then find yourself stuck in this cycle of, oh, I just can't get out of this. And then you say, oh shit, that must mean, yeah, I'm an undisciplined, I'm an unsuccessful trader. But no, it's just because you've just trained yourself to be a certain way for so long that you literally just believe yourself that you are that thing. And now reality is literally giving you the data and the feedback of being that thing, which then reinforces that identity. So then you find yourself, the brain's constantly predicting what's next, the brain generating the same thoughts, which lead into the same actions, lead into the same beliefs, lead into the same subconscious programming, and lead into the same reality. But the beauty of all this is that you don't need to worry about whether you can change this, because you need to realize that you're here right now because you've created all this. You've created the same patterns, the same actions, and you've relived the same thoughts over and over again, that you're now with this identity. And if you've created it, that means you can also create new thoughts. And if you can create new thoughts, that means you can lead yourself to new actions. And if you can lead yourself to new actions, that means you're going to lead to new behaviors. And if you can lead yourself to new behaviors, that means you're going to lead yourself to a new subconscious programming. And if you can lead yourself to that new subconscious programming, that means that you're going to be stepping into a new identity, and you would have created yourself a new identity. And that's why this is powerful, because if we can do that, if we can create the identity of I am a successful, disciplined trader, right? This is where the magic starts to happen. If we can do that and we can manufacture literal evidence, it doesn't have to be true, because this is the thing about beliefs. A belief is something that you believe to be true. And a belief doesn't need to be true in order for it to become a belief. It starts with a thought. Remember the process. It starts with a thought, then it leads to an action. And then that action leads to a behavior, and then that's what leads to a belief. So if we can engineer new thoughts for ourselves that are in alignment of us being a successful and a more disciplined trader, that's going to lead to the belief that we are a successful and a disciplined trader. And that belief is going to lead to a subconscious programming that we're a successful and disciplined trader. And that subconscious programming is going to allow us to perceive reality in a way that's going to confirm to us and create the identity of us being a successful, disciplined trader. And if you can repeatedly act in alignment with this new identity that you've set for yourself, over time, your brain stops fighting you, because your brain is going to be downloading that data of you consistently acting on those new thoughts and those new behaviors, right? It's going to be downloading that as data, because you've got to remember, the brain believes more in what it sees and experiences than the thought itself. So by you continuously and repeating those actions and those thoughts over and over again, that are in alignment with this identity that we have created for ourselves, that we are disciplined and successful traders, right? Over time, your brain starts fighting, because your brain is going to believe it as truth, because you've given it so much evidence as to why that is true. So what I need you to do, if you're serious about actually changing the trajectory of your trading, and because you're still watching this video now, I know you're serious, right? I need you to write down 3 things. And those 3 things, I need you to write down, what are 3 things that if I continue to do today in my trading, they will absolutely guarantee that I will fail at trading. Once you've written those 3 things down, it could be, for example, if you write down, if I continue to be impatient, I'll continue to fail at trading. Cool, that's one. If I continue to revenge trade, it's going to guarantee that I'll continue to fail at trading. That's 2. Once you've written those 3 things down, I need you to reverse engineer them and write the opposite actions of those 3 things. For example, if you've written that if I continue to be impatient, I'll continue to fail at day trading. Okay, what's the reverse engineered aspect of being impatient? Okay, I will sit and wait for my trading setup. All right, cool. Once you got the list of the 3 things that you shouldn't do, and you got the list of the 3 things that you should do, which are the reverse aspect of those things, we are now aware of the 3 things that will guarantee failure. And now we're also aware of the 3 things that will help stop those three things, right? And this is when it gets really exciting. This is when the magic starts. Because we're now aware of those three things that we need to do in order to stop the three negative things, we don't just go in the market and just start doing that, because that would just sound like another trading psychology tips, really, because you've probably done it yourself. You've probably told yourself, okay, I need to stop revenge trading, and the way to stop revenge trading is only when I take 2 losses on the day, I stop. And how many times has that worked out for you, right? You still find yourself in the same position. And that's why we're not going to do it that way, because you're just going to hit a roadblock. That's why we're going to literally go to the core of it and literally manufacture the core identity of a successful trader outside of trading, outside of the charts, which means that when we do then go into the charts and we face our 3 reverse engineered lists, it's so much easier and it becomes much more effortless to execute on, because we're already coming into the charts believing that we're a successful trader. So the actions of a successful trader, which are those 3 things that we reverse engineered, are going to be so much easier to execute on, simply because your subconscious now believes that you are a successful day trader. And that's the magic of it, because now you're acting on these things within the markets, and then you're further strengthening the belief system that you are a successful day trader now within the markets. And what's that? That's literally more evidence to the brain that, oh shit, I am a successful day trader. And that's just going to further strengthen that relationship with that belief system and that identity. And creating the evidence that you're a successful, disciplined day trader is entirely down to you. This is the game. Make it fun for yourself. I find that the easiest way to do it is to make it in alignment with the habits that you already have. For example, you know you go on the charts every day. So before you go on the charts, maybe you can do a 2-minute meditation before you go on the charts. Or maybe you can look at your trading plan before you go on the charts, which is something that you weren't doing before. And the act of you looking at your trading plan before you go onto the charts, or the act of you doing a 2-minute meditation before you go into the chart, is signal and evidence to the brain that you're a successful day trader. To you, it could be you go to the gym every day before you start day trading. Manufacturing that evidence, so every time you go to the gym, it's reinforcing that you're a successful day trader. Or it could be as simple as that: you go outside for fresh air before you start your day trading. As long as you're reinforcing and creating evidence that you're a successful day trader, and by you doing those actions, and you positively reward yourself every time you do it. So every time you follow through on those actions, you say yes. And by you going yes and celebrating those small wins, those small actions that help solidify that you're a successful day trader, by you doing that, what you're literally telling the brain is that, based on this evidence that just came in, I am a successful day trader. And what that's going to do, that's going to lead into a belief system, and that's what's going to rewire the subconscious mind and then create this identity. And now when you go into the charts and you act further in alignment with this new identity that you've been creating outside of the trading itself, and you go into the charts and you act on those 3 things that you reverse engineered, you're literally further creating evidence to the brain that, oh shit, you are a successful day trader and you are more disciplined. And guess what? You keep on repeating this same action, and every time you reward yourself and you tell yourself, based on this new evidence, I am a successful day trader, over time, your body is literally going to embody it. Your nervous system is going to settle in. Your brain will stop fighting you, because the brain has taken in so much evidence that it now believes that you're a successful day trader. And guess what? By it believing you are, the subconscious mind is now rewired for you to believe that you are. And guess what? Once the subconscious mind is now rewired for you to believe that you are a successful, more disciplined day trader, the feedback you're going to get from reality is now going to be in line with that perception. And your brain is going to start creating new thoughts that are positively in alignment, reinforcing this new identity you've created for yourself. So you then realize, was I really lying and faking it all along? No, you wasn't. That was precognition. That was you consciously creating who you were becoming. So it didn't matter that when you was manufacturing evidence of you being a successful day trader, you didn't necessarily have to believe it. No, you didn't need to believe it, because you was creating evidence that was in alignment with it. So yes, it might not have been true in that moment, but that process of you continuously doing it over and over again is what turned it into a belief. And that belief is then what reshaped your entire identity and what essentially reshapes your reality now. And this just doesn't apply to trading, it applies to all areas of your life. If you want to level up and install new habits and new processes in your life that allow you to improve your life and get ahead in life, this is the way to do it. This is how you make lasting change in life. So yeah, I hope you guys found this video insightful. If you did, leave a like, let me know in the comments below what you found insightful, and please take some notes. And I know you're excited to go and test this stuff out, because this stuff truly works. This is how you make change that actually lasts and how you overcome yourself. So yeah, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.